What if everything we've been saying about Japan is wrong? What if they're not a dark horse anymore? What if they're actually one of the most dangerous teams at the entire 2026 FIFA World Cup? Because while everyone is looking at Argentina, France, Spain, Brazil, and England, Japan have quietly put together one of the most impressive runs of form in international football. They've beaten Brazil, they've beaten England, they've won 6 straight matches, and perhaps most terrifying of all, they haven't conceded a goal in 5 consecutive games. Now they face the Netherlands, a football giant desperate to finally win the World Cup after decades of heartbreak. And this match might reveal something much bigger than who wins Group F. It might reveal whether Japan are ready to challenge football's elite. For years, Japan have been football's favorite underdog. They're respected, they're admired, they're dangerous, but they're rarely considered genuine contenders. That perception might finally be outdated, because when you look beneath the surface, this Japanese team is unlike any we've seen before. At the 2022 World Cup, they shocked Germany, they shocked Spain, and pushed Croatia all the way before falling on penalties. Most observers saw those results as isolated upsets. Now we're discovering they may have been warning signs. Since then, Hajime Moriyasu has continued refining a team that combines technical excellence with extraordinary discipline. The numbers are frightening. Japan arrive at this World Cup having won 6 consecutive matches. Victories over Brazil and England stand out immediately. But it's not just who they've beaten, it's how they've beaten them. 5 consecutive clean sheets, 0 goals conceded, an organized defensive structure, relentless pressing, explosive transitions. This is no longer a team hoping to survive against stronger opponents. This is a team expecting to compete with them and perhaps beat them. But standing in their way is one of football's most historic nations, the Netherlands, the nearly men of World Cup history. 3 World Cup final appearances, 3 heartbreaking defeats. No nation has come closer to lifting the trophy so many times without actually doing it. That pain still lingers. Every Dutch generation carries the burden of finishing the job. Ronald Koeman knows that. His players know that. And this tournament represents another opportunity to finally erase decades of disappointment. Yet despite possessing world-class talent throughout the squad, doubts remain. Because while the Dutch defense looks elite and the midfield looks exceptional, the attack remains a major question mark. That uncertainty could define this match, and perhaps the entire tournament. Everyone keeps asking whether Japan can compete with the Netherlands. Maybe we're asking the wrong question. Maybe we should be asking whether the Netherlands can handle Japan. Because stylistically, this is a nightmare matchup. And once you understand why, this game becomes far more fascinating. Let's start with the Dutch. Koeman's side wants control. Everything begins with possession. Everything flows through Frenkie de Jong. The Barcelona midfielder acts like the team's central nervous system. He dictates tempo. He creates angles. He attracts pressure. And then he breaks lines with a single pass. Alongside him sits Ryan Gravenberch. Powerful, athletic, press-resistant. Together, they form the platform for Dutch dominance. The objective is simple: control the ball, control the rhythm, control the game. But Japan don't care about possession. In fact, they often prefer not having it. That's what makes them so dangerous. When Germany dominated possession in Qatar, Japan punished them. When Spain monopolized the ball, Japan punished them. Now the Netherlands may walk into the exact same trap. Japan's system is built around transition moments. The instant possession changes hands, everything accelerates. Take Fusa Kubo receives, Junya Ito sprints, Ayase Ueda attacks space. Within seconds, a harmless defensive situation becomes a scoring opportunity. And here's where things get interesting. The Dutch fullbacks love attacking. Denzel Dumfries practically plays like a winger at times. Mickey van de Ven pushes high as well. Normally that's a strength. Against Japan, it might become a weakness. Every time those fullbacks advance, space appears behind them. And Japan specialize in exploiting exactly that space. This is the battle that could decide the match. Not Gakpo versus Japan's defenders, not Van Dijk versus Ueda, but Japan's transition game versus Dutch attacking ambition. One tactical choice, one recurring pattern, potentially one decisive outcome. If football matches are won in moments, tournaments are often won in midfield. And Sunday's midfield battle could be one of the best of the group stage. The Netherlands possess more recognizable names: De Jong, Gravenberch, Reinders. 3 players capable of controlling matches at the highest level. Technically, they may have the advantage. But Japan's midfield offers something different. Energy, structure, discipline. Daichi Kamada and Keishu Sano don't need to dominate possession. They simply need to disrupt it. Every second they delay De Jong, every passing lane they block, every turnover they force, increases Japan's chances dramatically. Watch this battle closely, because if the Dutch midfield controls proceedings, the Netherlands probably win. If Japan turns the game chaotic, everything changes. Every tournament creates new stars. And Takefusa Kubo might be next. Without Kaoru Mitoma, the creative burden falls almost entirely on his shoulders. That's pressure. But it's also opportunity. The Real Sociedad playmaker has all the tools: elite dribbling, exceptional vision, quick feet, and perhaps most importantly, courage. Kubo doesn't hide. He demands the ball, even against elite opponents, especially against elite opponents. If Japan are going to threaten the Dutch, Kubo will almost certainly be involved. One moment, one pass, one dribble. That's often all it takes, and the Dutch know it. On the opposite side stands Cody Gakpo, the man carrying Dutch attacking expectations. Recent performances have highlighted both his strengths and the concerns surrounding this Netherlands attack. Against Uzbekistan, he rescued his team with 2 goals, but the overall attacking display remained underwhelming. That's the issue. The Netherlands create moments, but do they create enough? Against lesser teams, maybe? Against Japan's disciplined defense? That's less certain. Gakpo has the ability to change games instantly, but he'll face one of the most organized defensive units at the tournament. Can he be the difference maker? Or will Japan's defensive machine continue rolling? Everyone talks about attackers, goals, highlights, moments. But the most important player in this match might actually be Virgil van Dijk, because Japan's greatest strength isn't possession, it's transition. And transitions require space. Van Dijk's role is to eliminate that space before danger develops. His positioning, his anticipation, his communication all become crucial. If he controls the defensive line, Japan struggle. If Japan can isolate Dutch defenders in open space, problems emerge quickly. The margin could be incredibly small. History says the Netherlands should win. Current form says otherwise. Japan have momentum, confidence, identity. Perhaps most importantly, they know exactly who they are. There's no confusion, no uncertainty, no tactical identity crisis. Every player understands his role. Every movement has purpose. Every phase of play looks rehearsed. That clarity is powerful in tournament football, especially in opening matches. Let's break this down. The Dutch dominate possession. De Jong controls midfield. Gakpo finds space early. Japan are forced deeper and deeper. Eventually, quality wins out. Netherlands 2-0. Professional, controlled, comfortable. Or the Dutch push forward. Japan absorbs pressure. Kubo finds channels. Ito attacks space. Ueda finishes. Suddenly, the Netherlands are chasing the game, and Japan become the biggest story of the tournament. Again, the most likely scenario sits somewhere in between. The Netherlands enjoy more possession. Japan create better transition opportunities. Both teams have moments. Neither fully imposes itself. The game becomes a tactical chess match, and one moment of quality from each side produces a draw. A result many observers are predicting. But even that outcome would tell us something important. Japan belong. What if Japan don't just survive this game? What if they're actually the better team? Not historically, not financially, not in reputation. Right now, today, at this tournament. Because if that's true, then Group F suddenly looks completely different. And so does the entire World Cup. Think about this. Germany underestimated Japan. Spain underestimated Japan. Will the Netherlands make the same mistake, or have they learned from history? That's the mystery entering kickoff, because every major tournament creates one team that exceeds expectations, one team nobody wants to face, one team capable of disrupting the established order. The evidence increasingly suggests Japan could be that team, but evidence alone doesn't win football matches. Execution does. Now they must prove it against one of the biggest names in world football. And here's why this match matters far beyond 90 minutes. The winner could seize control of Group F. The loser could suddenly face enormous pressure against Sweden. But there's an even bigger possibility. If Japan leave Arlington with a statement result, the conversation changes immediately. No more dark horse labels, no more underdog narratives, no more surprise stories. Instead, football might be forced to confront a new reality, that Japan aren't chasing the world's elite anymore. They've already arrived. And against the Netherlands, we'll find out if the rest of the world is finally ready to admit it.